Sean, you're muted.
Hey, happy Monday, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. Good to see you all. And there we go. Let's get this, the mic going here as well.
Sean, you're muted.
And hey, happy Monday, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. Good to see you all. And it's muted. There we go. All right. Hey, good morning, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well. Let's get this in so I don't sound like I'm in a can. It's Monday morning. Hope everybody's doing well this morning. Had an amazing weekend. I hope your weekend was fantastic. And we had some friends over, some kind of cousins in business, and that was kind of cool. The idea to have this little get together. We had kiddos, babies out here, 7-year-old and some 3-year-old twins. It was kind of cool. It was neat to have kids here. So my question for you today, Monday morning, August 14th. By the way, this was my 24th year in the profession over the weekend. I love it. The idea of MLM, me loving more. So question today is, are you solving or serving yourself? Think about it for just a second. Solving or serving? A lot of people, right? A lot of people, what's your focus? Tony Robbins talks about language, focus, and meaning, physiology. So all of these things that we question about what it is that we do, where is your focus? Are you focused on solving what? What does it mean to solve something? Well, it means that you're fixing a challenge, a problem, right? So if you're fixing problems for yourself, the question then becomes, if you're fixing problems for yourself, the challenge then becomes, why aren't you serving yourself? Why are you looking for problems to fix? There's no problems out there. There's only projects that you can work on. So what would it mean, A, if you just change it from problems to projects? And if you resolved them, wouldn't you be in service to yourself? And that's the big question. That's the big question that's going on here. What does it mean to serve yourself? Well, that's called selfish. I'd look at changing it possibly. Maybe you could change it to self-full. Self-full. This making sense? So these are just simple things. So I spent about 3 hours in a mentoring session last night with an amazing young soul. She's just an incredible individual. And in these conversations, at the end of the 3 hours of the session, if you will, I asked her, what did you learn? What did you like? She said, I learned I need to upgrade my vocabulary. She said, and I like the way your perception for everything is wildly different than anything I've ever been taught. I thought, well, that's kind of cool. I do choose to look at things, right? Wallace D. Waddle says, Wayne Dyer says, change the way you look at things and the things you look at change. I went back on YouTube and watched Wayne's movie, The Shift. Pretty cool movie. Love it, love it, love it. And it's probably the 10th or 12th time that I've seen it. I know I've seen it at least 10 times. And it's a good movie. There's lots of notes. I took lots of notes from it again. And it was one of those things. Was that in it the first time? Anyways, so yeah. Are you looking to solve problems for others? Isn't that kind of an interesting conversation, to solve problems for others? Do you make enough money? Let me teach you how to make enough money. Listen, you can teach till you're blue in the face. Any teachers out there, drop a T in the chat. If you're a teacher, drop a T in the chat. If you're a teacher, you know how hard sometimes it is to get people to listen to you, to do the homework. How many of you don't do the homework? How many of you are being taught? And see, here's the difference. There's a lot of people who you call mentors, who you are looking to be served by. They're looking to they're looking to solve your issues. I had another person that I worked with over the weekend and really didn't work with them at all, but worked with them with every breath. They went out and they did some fun family stuff that they hadn't done before. And they had some memories they've never had before. And listen, there's one of the things that's pretty interesting about having a conversation with somebody, about listening to their story, right? About serving them, is how many of you have ever been a part of something right there in the middle of it, but it wasn't something you were participating in? You participated with it, but you didn't participate in it. Does that make sense? Drop a 1 in the chat if that makes sense. You participated with it, but you weren't in it. You weren't in it. And when you understand the difference, you could be there. It goes back to that saying from Roosevelt, the man in the arena, right? My mind just went blank on it. I know the poem, but he talks about, at least you will know the victory of winning and the feeling of defeat, not like those cold, timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat. The ones in the stands, unless you're down on the floor, Brene Brown says, unless you're in the arena, I don't really care about your opinion. I don't need to hear your opinion if you're not in the arena. So a lot of times when people come to me and they ask for mentoring, they ask for coaching, they ask for teaching, they ask for training, all of those are different. All of those are different. They ask for those things. Many times they're asking for those things because they're not in the arena. How many of you would like to have the results of some of the people you know, but you're not willing to do the effort to get into the arena to work on those results for yourself? It's an interesting metaphor. It's an interesting conversation. Man, I'm doing the work. I'm doing the work. Well, if you're doing the work in the stands, it don't count. It don't count. Well, I'm busy. I'm putting up my TikToks. I'm doing my social media. I'm making my posts. If you're making them from the stands, the only people that will see them are people in the stands. You got to be in the arena. Well, what does it mean to get into the arena? It means you're going to go after a purpose-driven payday. See, if you got more money, does that serve you? I think it does. If you get more money, does that serve your family? I think it does. If you get more money, does that serve your creditors and credit cards and bills and mortgage? I think it does. If you get more money, does that serve your banks where you're going to start to store the money and put the money into the banks? I think it does. So you got to be in the field. You got to be in the field, in the arena, doing the work. What does that mean? It means telling stories. It means speaking from the scars, not the wounds. See, in this 3-hour conversation last night, I learned some of the things, and because I would ask when I would hear these wounds that they speak of, how many people I'd ask, so how many people know that? How many people know that? What is going on back here? Is that me? Yeah, I guess it is. Need a haircut. Squirrel, how many how many people know about that particular story? Well, you know, friends and people in the stands know. Nobody on the field knows. Then we'd go along, we'd talk about something else, and I said, well, how many people know about that? Well, just close family. How many of you have ever taken a drink of water and the ice was bad or the ice was old? You know, sometimes you can get old ice. Ice pulls up the smells out of the freezer. Drop an F in the chat if you know that old ice will pull the smell of the freezer. So if you know that, you ever get to somebody's house and you're like, Ooh, what's that smell? Do you ever pick up a cup of water? You saw them water, they got it out of the bottle or whatever. You opened up a bottle and you poured it in. You went, oh, what? Is the water bad? No, you probably said the ice is bad. Some of you are presenting your ice, your message, your ice to so many people, and they're like, ooh, something stinks. Something stinks. There's some stank in that thing. What is that? Your words don't come through. Your voice doesn't come through. Your tone doesn't come through. You don't change the sound, the speed of your voice. You talk from this level of thing and say, oh my gosh, this is amazing. You need to be here. A dingo ate your baby. What? What did he just say? Sometimes we have to soften our conversation. Some people can't hear your message because the wound that you're speaking from, it's sour. It's sour. Some of you are, when you speak about your network marketing business, you're speaking from the pain of the last business that didn't do anything. You're speaking from the last pain of the business that cost you money, and you're talking about this one, and you're thinking about that one. You're talking about this relationship, thinking about that relationship. You're talking about this business, thinking about that business. You're talking about, how many of you, there's a particular food you may not like because the last time you ate it. How many of you love tequila? I'll find where my drinkers are. How many of you love tequila? How many of you have the smell of a particular liquor that when you smell it, you're like, oh. And it used to be your favorite, Southern Comfort. How many of you love Southern Comfort? Jägermeister. Have I made anybody lose their cookies this morning because of just me mentioning a particular liquor? You follow me? You follow me? The last time you got sick on something, you're like, I'm never touching that. Oh, that again. How many of you have ever siphoned gasoline? And you did it with the hose. And you sucked in a mouth of gasoline. Drop a G in the chat. See, you're solving problems. And the problems is that when you solve problems, they have a tendency to manipulate, to change their state. And you're constantly solving problems. And when you solve one problem, 10 more show up. So the question then becomes, what does it look like to serve you, to serve yourself? Well, it's called a purpose-driven payday. The reason that some of your paydays, or the reason your paydays are very far between, how often do you get a payday? I can tell you how often you get a payday based upon the number of deposits. You tell me. I can tell you how often your paydays are based upon your level of gratitude. I can tell you how big your paydays are based on your level of purpose. See, that's the conversation I'm having this week. SeanGMurphy.com/PDP, purpose-driven payday. That's the challenge this week that I'm doing Thursday and Friday. And in this challenge, Thursday and Friday, I'm going to teach you very quickly the 12 steps that it's required, right? How many steps are there to make chocolate chip cookies or a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, or to plant an oak tree? There's a certain number of steps, and then there's the syntax, the order with which to do it. To make chocolate chip cookies, well, you take the cookies, you put it in the oven at 400, and after about 375, and after 15 minutes, you take the package out and you start to cut it up into cookies. Those are part of the steps of making chocolate chip cookies if you're using the Toll House little log of cookies. Well, but Sean, you don't put the log in there. You don't put the roll of cookies in there before you. Well, it says 375. Put them in the oven for 15 minutes. Yeah, but you're doing it backwards. Wouldn't that backwards? Isn't that different? Wouldn't that be a failure? Many of you are doing your success modeling backwards. And therefore, you're never seeing, and you're saying, well, I'm exhausted, I'm tired, I'm doing this. Well, it's because you're trying to solve a problem, not serve yourself. When you serve yourself, there's a certain syntax and order with which things need to be done. That's what I'm going to teach you on Friday. So, SeanGMurphy.com/PDP, Purpose Driven Payday. Just the initials PDP. It'll get you signed up. This week, the workbook will be going out for you beforehand. The workbook will be going out beforehand so that you can have it, you can review it. Maybe you can start answering some of the questions, and we'll go from there. So, I'm your head brain training, brain scrambling, purpose driving misfit. I'll see y'all where? I'll see you at the next event. Till then, thanks everybody. Bye for now. YouTube, love you tons. Thank you. Have an incredible, fun-filled day. I'll see you where? I will see